There's a quiet moment most men don't talk about. It doesn't happen during a fight. It doesn't happen during a dramatic breakup. It happens alone. You're sitting there. Maybe after another argument. Maybe after another night of feeling misunderstood. And you think, this doesn't feel right. Not explosive, not abusive, just wrong. And then comes the harder question. Is it time to leave? That question is heavy for men because men don't leave quickly. Men endure. You've invested time, energy, hope, maybe a home, maybe children. You don't want to quit. You want it to work. So tonight, let's slow this down. Not with anger, not with ultimatums, but with clarity. The first truth most men avoid. You don't consider leaving unless something inside you already knows it isn't working. You don't imagine ending a relationship that feels safe, mutual, and fulfilling. So if the question keeps returning, that's data. And here's what most men describe. I don't feel prioritized. I don't feel respected. I don't feel heard. I feel alone, even when we're together. That last one is important. Feeling lonely inside a relationship is different than being alone outside of one. If you feel alone in your relationship, that's not a small thing. A relationship is supposed to reduce isolation, not deepen it. When a man says, I feel disconnected, what he often means is this: I don't feel safe being fully myself here. He filters, he minimizes, he walks carefully, he avoids bringing things up because it will just start another fight. Oh, that's not partnership. That's emotional survival, and survival mode is not intimacy. You can love someone and still not feel emotionally safe with them, and when safety is missing, connection slowly disappears. Love is not the same as showing up. Here's a difficult but stabilizing truth. Love alone does not sustain a relationship. Men often stay because they love her, or because she says she loves him. But love without consistent action becomes a memory, not a foundation. Think of it this way. If someone says they love their job, but never show up, eventually they lose it. Not because they didn't feel something, but because they didn't participate in what was required. Relationships are no different. Showing up looks like accountability, curiosity, repair after conflict, consistency, not perfection. Just participation. Yeah, you cannot build closeness with someone who refuses accountability. You can ask nicer, you can explain better, you can sacrifice more. But if the other person has no interest in self-reflection, nothing changes. Two people must carry the relationship. If you are the only one apologizing, the only one reading books, the only one trying to grow, that's not teamwork. That's imbalance. And imbalance eventually becomes resentment. Relationships require two people doing the work, not one man overextending to compensate for two. Let me tell you about a man I worked with. We'll call him Marcus. Marcus was disciplined. He read relationship books. He suggested therapy. He practiced calm communication, but every time he brought up a concern, the conversation flipped. He became too sensitive, too demanding, always complaining. Eventually he stopped bringing things up, not because they were resolved, but because he was tired. He didn't want to fight anymore. And here's the moment that changed everything. He realized he was working on himself so the relationship could survive. But she had no interest in working on the relationship at all. That's when the question shifted. Not, how can I fix this, but am I doing the work of two people? Yeah, that's a powerful pivot. Anger is information. Many men feel anger in these relationships, not explosive rage, but quiet resentment. That resentment is not random. It's your nervous system saying, this doesn't feel fair. Anger often points to neglected needs, not drama, needs. And the mature move, isn't to suppress that anger or weaponize it. It's to listen to it. What is it trying to protect? Resentment is what happens when a man keeps abandoning his own needs. He tells himself it's fine. He tells himself he can handle it. He tells himself she'll change. But each time he swallows a boundary, something inside him hardens. And eventually, he doesn't recognize himself anymore. Anger isn't the enemy, it's a signal. It says, I am not being treated the way I need to be treated. Ignore it long enough, and you don't just lose the relationship, you lose yourself. Married with children, a different layer. If you're married with kids, the stakes feel heavier. Leaving isn't just about you. It affects a family. And I won't pretend that decision is simple. But the same principle applies. Is there mutual willingness, not perfection? Willingness, does your partner show genuine interest in growth? Or do they deflect, blame, and dismiss? Those patterns matter because your body will not continue offering vulnerability to someone who punishes it. Even if you stay, disconnection grows where safety is absent. The fork in the road. There's a moment every man reaches. It's not dramatic, it's quiet. You admit, this relationship as it is does not work for me. That doesn't mean it's over. It means the current version is over. And here's the fork. We either build something healthier together, or I build something healthier alone. There is no third option. Here's the hard truth most men avoid. You have to become okay with the relationship ending before you can save it. Not because you want it to end, but because you refuse to tolerate dysfunction. If you are terrified of losing her, you will negotiate your standards. But if you are grounded enough to say, I will survive either way, you gain clarity. Strength in a relationship is not control. It's emotional independence, and emotional independence changes the power dynamic. Taking accountability without self-blame. Now, let's be balanced. This isn't about villainizing your partner. You also have patterns. Maybe you avoided conflict. Maybe you became passive-aggressive. Maybe you exploded after staying quiet too long. That matters. But growth is not manipulation. You don't improve yourself to convince her to change. You improve yourself because that's who you want to be. And here's the outcome. And if she rises with you, the relationship evolves. Okay? And if she resists your growth, you gain clarity. Either way, you move forward. When someone punishes your vulnerability, pay attention. If you open up and you're mocked, if you express a need and you're dismissed, if you set a boundary and you're shamed, that is not intimacy. That is emotional immaturity. You don't fix that by asking softer. You fix that by raising your standards. Safe does not mean perfect. Safe means you can be honest without being attacked. And if honesty is dangerous in your relationship, something is deeply misaligned. Are enough of your needs being met? No relationship fulfills every need. That's unrealistic. But here's a grounding question. Are enough of your needs being met that you can accept the ones that aren't? If yes, continue building. If not, you're already compensating too much. Well, you do not need perfect. You need respect, accountability, emotional safety, mutual effort. That's the baseline. If you leave, people may misunderstand. They didn't see what happened inside. They didn't feel the emotional labor you carried. But leaving a relationship that is chronically misaligned is not failure. It's alignment. Your relationship ending is not your failure. It's feedback. If this conversation is resonating, pause for a moment. Not to make a decision tonight, but to ask yourself, have I been honest about what I need? And have I clearly expressed that respectfully without shrinking? That question alone can shift everything. If this kind of grounded reflection helps you think more clearly, stay connected. This space is about clarity, not drama. Final clarity. Here's what matters most. You cannot force someone to mature. You cannot love someone into accountability. You cannot overfunction your way into safety. What you can do, set standards, communicate clearly, and take responsibility for your part. Refuse to tolerate patterns that erode you. And then watch what happens. If she steps toward growth, build. If she steps away from responsibility, believe what you see. When someone shows you who they are consistently, That is information. Leaving is not always the answer. Staying is not always strength. The answer is alignment. Are two people genuinely willing to do the work? Not promise, not perform. Do the work. If yes, fight for it together. If not, don't fight alone. As we close, remember this. You are not asking for too much. You are asking for reciprocity, and reciprocity is not luxury. It is the foundation of adult love. If this conversation helped bring clarity, carry that clarity with you. And if you want more grounded conversations like this, steady, male-focused, psychologically honest, you're welcome to stay connected. Because maturity is not about holding on at all costs. It's about knowing when to build and when to walk.